Hi, it's Brian Timoney here, and welcome onto today's show. And I'm joined by Rob. Welcome,
Hello.
Rob.
Thanks a lot. Yeah, good to be here.
Well, as you know, Rob is a veteran of the acting industry. He's been there, done it, bought the T-shirt, done every conceivable acting thing known to man, and he is here today to give us the benefit of his experience. So thanks for popping in, Rob.
It's a pleasure, Brian.
So what we're going to be talking about today in particular is generating your own work. Because, you know, as an actor, you don't really want to be sitting around just waiting for the phone to ring, hoping your agent's going to phone up one day. You kind of got to be proactive about creating your own work. And we see this at every level throughout the acting industry. We see it from everybody who's, you know, for example, starting out all the way up to the top Hollywood actors that are generating their own work. So what's your view on all this, Rob, generating your own work?
Well, I mean, I think you've got to generate your own work if you want to stay afloat sometimes. If you're not lucky enough to be working all the time, you know, back-to-back jobs, one after the other, which hopefully you will be, then, you know, you need to pay the bills, man. But there are ways of generating your own work. I'm doing something right now in that I've written a short film, and I'm in pre-production stages at the moment, and I'm raising funds for it, and yeah, that's
Which you've written, and
I'm
you're
going to
direct it,
yeah,
and you're producing it.
and I'm producing it. I'm not going to be in it though.
I was going to say otherwise. That's pretty close to Orson Welles, but no, you've stopped short of the old acting bit.
Well, funny you should mention Orson Welles, because as part of my opening shot, I'm going to give a little nod, just a little nod, to his wonderful film A Touch of Evil. And if you've never seen that, just have a look at the opening shots of A Touch of Evil. They're fantastic. Anyway, enough said about that.
Well, he was a genius.
Yeah,
it has to be said. So, you're right. So, and you know, a good example of this, and people forget about this, but like Matt Damon and Ben Affleck really created their own first sort of big shot, if you like, into the industry by creating their own film.
They did.
And which went on to be Good Will Hunting, and which actually Matt Damon won an Oscar for. In fact, they both did, didn't they? I think, for the writing aspect of it. I can't remember. But
certainly nominated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there we go. It's not just because sometimes I think people think when we talk about this, producing your own work, there's the automatic idea that it's always people that are just starting out. But that's not the case. And actually, a word of warning about the starting out thing, because what we're talking about here in particular is people that are professional actors and how to get more work coming in through the door, not just through your agent, but through your own means. However, if you are starting out, just a word of warning here, it's not about just going out willy-nilly and deciding that one day you wake up one day and think, you know what, my mum and dad and friends tell me I should be on the stage or on the silver screen, and going out there and producing something willy-nilly. You've got to be careful about this. You've got to make sure that you're up to the task, that you've trained in acting, you know how to do it before you start putting stuff out there. Otherwise, you know, you might get caught short.
Yeah, it's got to. I mean, obviously, it's got to be reasonably good if you want it to generate other work.
Yeah.
But there's no harm in, you know, getting together with a few actor friends and putting on a play somewhere at a fringe venue.
No, absolutely.
Because it's all practice, it's all grist to the mill, it's all good stuff to do.
And work begets work, you know?
Work begets work, or at least what it will do is give you the experience of having done a play if you haven't done one before.
Yeah.
And so, you know, it doesn't necessarily always have to be tip-top good quality work, but because you're doing something, you're doing it.
I think, what I'm getting at, Rob, is that, you know, you've been in the industry a long time and you know your craft, right? What I'm talking about is somebody just wakes up, you know, in the middle of the night and goes, right, I'm going to become an actor, and they just produce something off of the back of not really knowing how the craft works yet. Yeah. And that could be more detrimental than it could be helpful, because if you produce something that isn't up to scratch, and by the way, this goes for professionals as well as people that are new to the industry, then it could do more damage than good, because you've got to think about yourself as a business, that at the end of the day you are a product or a service that people are going to buy. Now, the reason that you produce your own stuff, apart from, you know, enjoying the process of producing something yourself, is hopefully to garner more interest for people that are in the profession to see your work and go, look, I want to work with that person, let's get them involved in this project. So you need to make sure that what you're putting out there is as high a quality as possible.
Absolutely. And what you put out there, like you've just said, it might not make you any money, but what it is a calling card to the industry for them to give you work, which will hopefully be paid work.
Yeah.
And
well, actually, the director, Christopher Nolan, who, as we know, now gone on to produce, to direct the Batman films and a number of other very high-profile films, that when he first started out, he made his first film by filming during the weekends. So on a Saturday, Sunday, he would get his crew together, and they were always similar position to him. So he was a director starting out, and he found other, sound guys and other people, lighting guys that wanted to be involved and produce their first thing. And they did it all free of charge, but they were doing it for each other, if you like, so that they could produce something together. And that first film became his calling card. And as we now know...
And it's something for the CV.
Absolutely, absolutely.
You've got to build up your CV and build up everything, haven't you? Yeah. And so it's always a good thing to do your own stuff, whether it be write and produce your own little short film or bigger film if you're more ambitious, or just put a play on the fringe. Just do it and study your craft. And make sure you've got something to work with when you embark on these projects.
Yeah. And it can be incredibly rewarding. Apart from, we've talked about the business side, of being a calling card, but there's also the fact that and we've both done this, so I know you will know what I'm talking about when I say this, is that it's also about realizing an ambition. So realizing a story, or realizing a play or a screenplay that you are passionate about, that you think, I really have got to do this, and then doing it. And there's a lot to be said for doing that. Yeah, it is good for you. Yeah,
it's good for you. Yeah, it's good for you to do whatever you're passionate about, to do whatever moves you to engage.
It's good for the actor's soul.
That's it. Yeah. There you go. Good for you.
That's in a nutshell. That's what it's good for.
Yeah. But there's loads of ways of generating your own work. Just be proactive. I mean, sometimes I get onto, there's a website called IMDb.
Yeah, well, quite a big one. Yeah, quite a notable one. Yeah, it's an important website now.
It means the Internet Movie Database, IMDb.
Yeah.
And if you go on to what's called IMDbPro, it will give you all of the films that are in production, including the casting directors.
And pre-production.
Oh, yeah. I meant pre-production, yeah.
Yeah.
Including the casting directors. Hey, sometimes I drop a line direct to the casting director of these things.
Yeah.
Perhaps not always a conventional way of doing things, but I do that anyway.
Well, I went even further. It's like I've actually contacted the director from that. And by the way, that's most people tell you, don't contact the director, they don't want, any contact.
Why not?
Well, why not, indeed. Yeah. And actually, you've got to remember, they're just like you, from an acting perspective. They are a director that's going from one project to the next. They are creative as well. I actually got a funny story about that. I actually managed to get an audition many moons ago now, and through my own efforts, and it was with a director, quite a well-established director. And a friend of a friend had his phone number. And so I decided that I would phone him. And so I phoned him up, and I didn't get him on the phone, it was his mum. So I actually got the director's mum on the phone. And she was going, hello? And I said, oh, hi, it's Brian Timoney here. I just wondered if so-and-so was around. No, he's not in. But can I take a message? And I said, yeah, sure. And she says, I'll make sure he gets it. I'll make sure he returns your call.
Very good.
And he did. So if
always do what your mother tells you.
Yeah, so if I've got a piece of advice is don't speak to the director, speak to the mums, the mum of the director. That's what you need to do.
Did you get the part?
Did I get the part? No, I didn't actually, not on that occasion.
Oh, well, never mind.
But on other occasions, of course. But
it was very industrious of you to do what you did. Yeah.
Yeah.
To phone him direct. Why not? Yeah, why not?
Yeah. Gets you in your door. Why not? Try it out.
That's it. And I mean, just so the other way of generating work, of course, is to promote yourself properly. Really promote yourself in a big way, using all of the methods that actors do market themselves.
Yeah.
Do you want to go through a couple of those? Or?
Well, you're on a roll, Rob. Go for it. It's like, you've started, so you might as well finish.
Yeah. Well, I mean, look, there's just the simple, obvious things, like making sure you photograph. And for those of you that don't realise this, one of the most important things you have when you first start to market yourself as an actor is you need the headshots, the photographs, which are sort of this sort of framing.
And by the way, they're your first agent. Yeah, because that's the first calling card, isn't it?
Yeah, and the most important thing is I've seen so many photographs of actors and actresses, and then you meet the actor and they don't look anything like their photograph. They've airbrushed the photograph, they've sent it to Photoshop, or so I don't know what they've done, and they've made it look glamorous, like some kind of Hollywood picture. And when you meet them, they're an ordinary girl, ordinary boy, whatever, as you know, much more interesting for being. And
you've got to make sure
they
that
don't look like the shot.
Whoever's walking in the room looks like that headshot.
Looks exactly like the headshot. That's right. So have headshots that look like you. This is one of the most important ways of promoting yourself in the initial stages. And getting together a good CV and a show reel and things like that. If you've got enough stuff for a show reel, and if you haven't got enough stuff for a show reel, and you don't have an agent as yet, okay, go and do a couple of student films. And stick some...
Get some material.
Get some material on your show reel.
I think it's just a word of warning about show reels, because I've seen many different show reels, some better than others. A big mistake that I've seen made on a number of show reels is this idea of having a montage or very quick snippets of the actor before they get into...
Yeah.
Now, I know on good authority now that a lot of casting directors and agents are not going to watch the whole show reel. They might only watch as much as 30 seconds or a minute of that show reel. So important to get something good up front of you just acting. And by the way, forget all the histrionics, all the over-the-top emotional and stuff going on and all that. Just give them something simple but very well acted, I think, is important up front.
Yeah, I mean, I used to have on my show reel quite a nasty scene of high emotion that was a little bit nasty as well. In a great movie called, the movie was Jeanne d'Arc, Joan of Arc, which was directed by Luc Besson.
Oh yeah.
And I had this sort of quite disturbing scene on there.
I remember that.
And one casting director told me, don't include that. Don't have this high emotion, this disturbing scene on there. Just have the lead up to it, but cut that because we don't want to see that. They don't want to see that sort of thing.
Yeah. It's interesting because I think in some ways you think that you really need to go push the boat out to impress casting directors, and actually, in essence, what they want to see is good, authentic acting in something that's fairly straightforward.
Just want to see you.
Yeah, see you walking and talking and being able to do something on camera.
Can you walk? Can you talk?
Wow, amazingly, you can. You've got the job. Fantastic.
There you go.
We were looking for somebody who could walk and talk, and you just happened to do it. So there we go. I think that covers some interesting points on creating your own work and getting your stuff out there.
Yeah, just be bold. Just be bold and do stuff. And without putting too many expectations on yourself, just be bold, do stuff, and see what you can come up with.
Yeah, call the director's mum or something like that. Yeah, something
exactly.
crazy like that. Okay, well, thank you, Rob.
Pleasure.
And we'll speak to you on the next one.
Yeah.